Hello and welcome back to Purpose, Peace and Profit. So today I really wanted to talk to you about the word mindset and about the focus that we see on mindset in the world at the moment, in the world in general, not just in the business space, right? So mindset's become this real buzzword, this thing that feels really, really important. It feels like if you're not doing the mindset work all the time, then you are being left behind, you're substandard, you're inadequate, you're not going to be successful in your business. And it's become really synonymous with success over the years, this kind of culture of the positive mindset, the can-do attitude, being able to be resilient, keep showing up, keep doing all the things, has become a real must-have thing. It's just in the collective consciousness now, isn't it, as the thing that you have to be doing to make sure you are successful. And to a degree, that's a great thing, because yes, we do need to be absolutely able to be resilient. We need to have confidence. We need to be able to remain consistent. We need to be able to get ourselves through those times when there are difficult decisions and ride the waves of any storms we face along the way, as challenges get thrown in our direction, which they inevitably do all the time in the world of business. Then we need to be able to face up to those, right? So mindset and capacity to face those things really, really is important. So in many ways, there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I think there is a danger, and I think that danger is that we can become so concerned about our mind being in the right place and about working on our mindset that in itself can become a big worry, a big negative, if you like, and it can become this big extra pressure that we put on ourselves in our businesses. Okay. So I just want to give you a bit of an example, because I think it's going to help you just to kind of get your head around where I'm going with this. So just imagine an entrepreneur. We're going to call her Anna, not a real person, just an avatar that I've made up just to help illustrate this for you. But she is based on a lot of my real life clients and a lot of the stuff that I see going on in the world. So let's say she's 3 years into her coaching business and it's going pretty well now. It's not always been easy, but she's a fighter. She's struggled through those early days when she was finding it really difficult to find clients. She's kept her head down, stayed resilient through doing all the early days marketing and stuff and trying to build a strategy. And eventually she got there. Swallowed all the freebies, eventually realised that she needed some proper coaching, got there, did that, invested, faced all those scary fears around that sort of stuff, threw some money at coaching and found that helped her develop a marketing system that worked for her. So then she started to get more established, get some referrals coming in, and fairly quickly she got to the point where she was turning over quite a nice amount every month. And she's, let's say, probably on track to hit the 6-figure milestone this year. And that's feeling like exactly where she wanted to be. That was kind of her big goal in the beginning, because it's a pretty common goal, isn't it? Most of us want to reach that 6-figure milestone. It's kind of in the collective consciousness again. And along the way, she's had to do some really tricky stuff, and she's had to really challenge herself to develop this great mindset to get her to this point, right? She's had to be in the mindset of living and breathing her business and being committed to that success and showing up for it all the time so she can make it happen, right? She's always had to be on the lookout for solutions. She's become a very positive person, a very resilient person. She's always looking for how things could be improved. She's become super good at spotting the little gaps in things that nobody else sees, prioritizing things before they become issues so that she's showing up wonderfully for her clients so that everything's nice and smooth, all her processes are in order. She's learned to be really good at setting goals and making sure she stays focused to achieve those. So she's done lots of work on like procrastination and time blocking and systems that will help her feel more productive and more efficient. She's become really resilient, so she's just got really good at like sucking it up every time something gets thrown her way, takes a deep breath, handles it, gets on with her day, doesn't let it put her off her stride. She's got great at networking. She really hated it at first. She found it just like she wanted to hide in the corner, but she's pushed against that fear and kept on going and making herself go to these networking events, and it's paid off. She still feels quite nervous sometimes when she's in a group or she's in a situation where she's got to introduce herself, but it's paying off. It's helping bring in leads, and people keep telling her all sorts of nice things about herself, although she doesn't really believe them. She's developed great boundaries. Again, that's felt really challenging. It's felt quite tough at times to put things in place, to say no, to not take on work, to not have those coffee chats that just waste her time. And she's really, again, implemented those despite sometimes it not feeling great, despite sometimes it playing on her mind and making her feel guilty and like she's not being authentically herself in many ways. She's always thinking about the next move. She's never taking her eye off the ball. It's always her mind is always kind of running with the next thing she could be doing, or making sure that she's on track with those goals for the next quarter. And she's really challenged herself to take on difficult projects, things that push her. She's challenged herself to charge her worth all the way and to keep upping her prices, even though it's felt really squirmy and awful and difficult. And she's put herself through goodness knows how many sales calls that have just not felt very much fun. She's played about with scripts and all sorts of things that have made her squirm and scared her silly, and done lots of reframing to try and feel better about it. And it kind of feels a bit better, but deep down it still feels pretty uncomfortable at times, although it's brought the leads in and that has helped her. So when we look at her in terms of mindset, she's kind of done a lot of the things that we commonly hear out there and that we think we should be doing to have a great mindset in business. She's pretty on it. She's done lots of money mindset work. She's done a bit of kind of investigating her personal and spiritual well-being. She's looked into various methods of helping her manage her mood swings and anxiety and those sorts of things too. But what she's found is that as time's gone on, it's not started to feel easier. And despite having done all these mindset bits and pieces and really worked on herself, actually it's still feeling pretty stressful and pretty much like an ongoing struggle. And because of that stress and struggle, she's felt like, okay, what's going on here? I need to get through whatever's limiting me and getting in my way here. So there must be some kind of limiting belief, or there must be something going on under the surface for me here. She started to realise that is the case. So she started doing things like journaling, trying to analyse her feelings and thoughts and fears and like feel into those feelings and work out where they're coming from. And she's like started looking into personality archetypes and reading personal development books and listening to audiobooks and just kind of wondering like what is behind all this? Why am I still feeling so crap despite having done all this work on my mindset? Like, surely I should be better by now. And if she were to step back and look at things, she might notice that as she's got more and more kind of lost in the land of personal development and more lost in the land of trying to work out what is going wrong for her, things don't seem to have got better. The more she's dug and the more she's tried to uncover things, the more it's brought up for her and the more it's kind of added into this ever-growing mountain of mindset stuff to work through. And she's actually ended up feeling more and more worried and stressed and less in control of herself and her situation. And she's feeling like there's ever further to go. So what's actually happened here is that she's gone on this quest to sort out all her issues and nail her mindset and get to a really, really great place. Actually, what's happened is it started to unravel this thread, and it's become in itself a pressure, and it's become a stress, it's become a source of worry for her. And those things, pressure and stress and worry and analysing and wondering what's going on behind the scenes, can actually really increase our anxiety levels. And whilst it's a great thing to be aware of what might be behind things for us and to work through those and to move forward, it's also not great to revisit old things that our mind has already dealt with for us. Because by kind of going back into old traumas and old anxieties and reopening those and taking ourselves back there in a way that we are feeling them and maybe experiencing them again and asking questions about them, by doing that, it can end up re-traumatizing us and adding a whole lot of extra stress and anxiety into the equation that don't need to be there and that we have already dealt with in the past in another time and place. We don't deal with everything. Yes, sometimes there are still issues persisting now because of stories, because of experiences that we've had in the past. But the trouble is when we go like digging for them and looking for problems, we often start to find more problems and create more problems and pile on the pressure and the stress just by doing that. So yes, working on your mindset is a good thing, but there's also a lot to be said for making that work about now and about feeling in control of yourself and your situation now and helping you move forward from where you are and where you're stuck in a really positive, helpfully exploratory way, rather than trying to go on this wild goose chase of like what's caused this, what might be behind it all, analysing everything to death. What's better and healthier for us is to just say, this is square one now. Where do I want to be? What is getting in my way now? How do I overcome that positively? And I think we have to remember that mindset isn't the be all and end all of true success. It's not the thing that makes us successful or not. So mindset is literally for me just how we are feeling and responding and the control we have over those thoughts and feelings in the present moment. What's far more important and what helps us naturally create a great mindset without doing hours and hours of work and analysing ourselves to death is making sure that underneath all of that we are feeling emotionally good and stable and comfortable and in control of our present moment. Because the reason that we often end up feeling so out of control, so unable to cope with life and with our present and just overwhelmed by all the things and stressed is because our mind is wandering off into the past or into the future, and it's getting lost in things it doesn't need to be getting lost in. It's bringing irrelevant stress into the equation, things that we don't need to be dealing with right now. And that's raising our emotional instability. It's making us feel much more emotionally up and down than we need to be. and it brings in lots of panic, fear, uncertainty, worry into the equation. And when we've got all of that stuff, we can easily slip into what our friend Anna here is experiencing, which is this survival mode, this like, I'm coping, I'm fine, I'm doing all the things, fighting all the fires, I am on top of all this, but actually she's crumbling underneath. So rather than getting ourselves into survival mode and like feeling like there is constantly work to do, what's much healthier and much better is to just come back to grounding ourselves in the present moment and doing things that nurture our emotional stability and emotional happiness and ability to cope with now. So I will leave that thought with you for today. Do let me know what you think. And just a few ideas for you if you are recognizing that in yourself and you're feeling like, oh, yeah, I feel like I've got loads more mindset work to do. Now I don't know what to do with it all. Have a think about these things instead. So firstly, how can you minimize your background levels of stress? How can you get yourself to a more calm and naturally resilient place without trying so hard? What things in your life support you to feel calmer and more in control naturally? 2, are some of the things that you are doing to better yourself and to, so say, improve yourself, are they adding stress into the equation that you don't need right now? Are they actually contributing to all that stress and struggle rather than helping you feel better about where you're at? And 3rd thing is just to check in with whether you are listening to yourself in terms of what feels good and the mindset shifts that you think you need to make. Or are you being swayed by the things that you're being told that you need to focus on? Are you doing all the bits and pieces you're doing for your self-care and your personal development because they're like, I think that really feels good for me, I like it, I enjoy it, it definitely de-stresses me? Or is it more like, well, somebody said I need to work on money mindset, therefore I'm going to do that? Or EFT is the thing you need to use, or energy work's important, or you need to be exercising 5 times a week, or whatever it might be. Is it stuff that you're bringing up for yourself that feels good, or is it other things that have come from outside? So just have a good think on that one for yourself, and I hope that helps you to feel naturally a little bit more calm, in control, and like you've got this. Take care.